Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Pretty good. My name's Bob Behrens. On behalf of Red Wing Noontime Kiwanis Club, I'd like to welcome you to today's Memorial Park Overlook dedication ceremony. And wow, what a beautiful morning it is. We really dodged a bullet relative to weather. You couldn't have asked for a better day. You know, this weekend is reserved to honor those who've made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And it's also expanded and grown to show respect for people who are veterans and those who are serving currently. And it's only fitting that we're having this in this location this weekend because of the fact that we're also overlooking Eisenhower Bridge of Valor, which is a very appropriate vista for us at this point. And seated on the observation deck behind us here, in front of us, however you want to describe it, was an ensemble from the Sheldon Theater Brass Band. And we certainly very much appreciate their willingness and having these great players be a significant part of our event today. Let's give the Sheldon Ensemble a warm welcome. We're going to get us started with a march called Washington Grays. So we can't have our flag lowered too much longer. And I'm going to introduce Lance Garrick and thank him for being with us today. He represents both the American Legion and the Hiawatha Valley Family Beyond the Yellow Ribbon organization. And I'd also like to thank the Legion Color Guard and its leader, Terry Nelson, for helping us today. Here you go, Lance.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. It is befitting that we're here doing this dedication this weekend. It just commemorates and emphasizes the importance that we're going to put on the fallen this weekend and all our veterans that have served in this community. It's a great place to be for it. So today our flag raising will be done by our All Veterans Color Guard, led by Carrie Nelson. Color Guard pose. Salute. Two. Thank you again for a very dedicated group of men who are always there when we need them, always. Thank you. It's a wonderful sound, isn't it? Never get tired of that. Bob, it's all yours. Thank you.
I think it's really important that we all remember that the flag you're seeing flying today would not be here without protection afforded to us by the United States military. I think we have to reflect on that once in a while because that flag's here for a reason. So I'm going to take you down a little bit of history about this project. Not a lot of history, just a little bit of history. But this whole project started with an idea of putting a flagpole on this location. The original location, I think some of you remember what this overlook looked like back 10 years ago, so to speak, and many years before that. And I thought it would be a good idea if my business were to give a flagpole to the city in recognition of a business anniversary of 80 years that we were celebrating, and also because of the fact that two of the founding members of our organization were World War II veterans, my father and uncle. But when I got up and visited the location was so depreciated in such a state of disrepair, so to speak, because of age, that I thought that, you know what, we need something more than just putting a new flagpole in an old spot. And so this all kind of evolved into a situation where I went into the hardware store wanting to buy fish hooks and had to buy the boat, right? And it was an interesting situation, but it evolved what really interesting collaborations. But I will tell you that there were two overriding details that I wanted the Overlook project to represent. One was that the original spirit of this park be sustained as a tribute to our military service members. And the second detail was that it be a national park quality location that would serve as a quality of life asset for our community. I wanted it to be a destination spot for both our residents and for their visitors and guests, so that people that arrived in Red Wing would never stop coming to this location, and it would also be a spot for families to come and see a wonderful location, and they would be proud of it. And I'm not going to bore you with a lot of additional details about this, but there were many meetings and collaborations through the years from 2015 through 2021. It was basically a joint economic partnership between the city of Red Wing and the fundraising ability of the Noontime Kiwanis Club for a project to celebrate our club's 100th anniversary of community service. Red Wing Noontime Kiwanis started in Red Wing in 1920. This was all coupled with a volunteer group that was forging the way with ideas to make the Overlook successful. But the actual construction began in 2021. The improvements that we achieved are obvious, I think. However, one of the big conflicts originally was that the old Overlook has parking. It allowed people to come in their vehicles, not get out of their vehicles, and look at the view. And we did not have that in our plans originally to ask parking here. I should say we did originally, so through the evolution of the plans, we decided to get rid of the parking. And we had a little bit of a conflict about that, but we came up with a really good idea. That was to clear out the trees over there and had afford the ability for people to still come and park and look at the view, but just not here. We separated the pedestrian side of this location from the vehicular side of this location, so that this would not be interfered with relative to vehicles here, but we still afforded the ability of people to park and look at the view. We also wanted to make sure it was accessible for people with challenges, which it is now. We also wanted to have an amphitheater-style seating arrangement where people can sit on the stones, both at this level as well as the level below. And we obviously wanted to have the signature observation deck that everybody comes to and looks at the view. And one of the things that I really wanted to have was this compass rose in the middle of the observation deck. The directions in this town relative to northeast, west, and south are very confusing to people. And as I recently said, you will definitely find a way, discover a way to make an extra $5 if you bet somebody which direction is north. The north is signified obviously on the compass, it's due north. But that was one of the things I thought that added an awful lot to conversations, and it certainly does. Then we also wanted to make sure that with the new, we also wanted to signify a little bit and represent some of the old. And so this granite stone here that you see, it's from St. Bob, was intended to match, to represent the granite stone that is also the granite columns in the front entryway that were placed there back in 1929. And so we've got a representation of a little bit of the old and certainly a lot of the new. The granite surround that's at the base of the flagpole has 6 bronze plaques representing each of the current military branches of the United States of America. They are placed there in what they call the military flag precedence. Just a little bit of trivia, there is an order that the military puts their flags relative to each branch, and it changes actually. This order is here as a peacetime representation. They do change slightly during the time of war relative to what order the flags are. The two granite pylons here are in the same style as the pylon that this plaque was originally mounted on in 1955 that used to sit over in that area of the original outlook. And so one of these pylons has a restored geological plaque on this area that was originally mounted in 1955. And the second pylon is it has the new dedication plaque that we're gonna uncover today. And both of these pylons kind of serve as a gateway to people that come up through the sidewalk to the observation deck. It's a nice gateway to people to tell. But before we continue, because of the fact that we've got branches of the armed services that are represented by our flag surround, we are going to have the ensemble play another song for us called the Armed Forces Salute, which represent the historical military service branches. a lot of people to thank. A lot of people to thank relative to making this a successful project. And I'm going to start with calling out a few people, a few names here of people that I ran across through this project's evolution. Worked a lot with city staff. I'm going to tell you that, people complain about government. People, talk sometimes disrespectfully about elected officials or people that work for the city and that type of thing. I had absolutely tremendous experience working with the city staff. Met a lot of people, and they were so accommodating. They were so congenial. They wanted this project to work, and they went overboard to try to help out. And so it was a great feeling to know that we have people that are working with the city that have such great personalities and such great spirit relative to allowing these kinds of projects to occur. Very supportive, very supportive. And I'm going to name the people that we had experiences with. Well, not in the alphabetical order. Brian Ewer, Bruce Blair, who's not really a city employee, but he was involved as a contractor, helped us out with a really initial graphic display of her idea on this. Sean Blaney, Marshall Hallock, Kyle Klatt, Steve Cohn, Kate Coleman. Jay Owens was an asset. He's no longer with the city, but what an asset. Brian Peterson, Pat Raymaker, and last but not least, Dan Rogness. Dan Rogness went above and beyond the call of duty relative to helping us out with this project. Wonderful person. Then I had this committee that I worked with all through the evolution again of this project. That this could not have happened without the help that I received, and we were a team of four, so to speak. But we had a great collaboration, and came up with ideas that just continued to evolve, and ideas that everybody contributed toward to make just all what it is today. Those three people are Kurt Gould, Art Kenyon, and Becky Ploss. So why don't you give those three a little round of applause? Gail Dahlberg was responsible for, he's a local stonemason and also a sculptor, and he is going to be, he is the one that was anointed with the responsibility and volunteered to do it, to make the sculpture that is going to sit on top of that granite surround. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. It'll probably be completed this year. It's partially completed already, but we hope that it's an enticement for you to return to this location and look at it in the future, and hopefully that'll take place yet this year, and I think it's going to. Now, I'd like to introduce the City Council President, Kim Bicey, to say a few words on behalf of the city.
Community involvement has been the foundation of Memorial Park for more than a century, and it continues to make it one of Red Wing's favorite places today. In 2011, after the park had fallen into disrepair, volunteers, community organization, philanthropists, and the city partnered to renovate Memorial. Since then, hundreds of people and thousands of volunteer hours, along with many dollars, have been utilized to increase accessibility, rejuvenate the quarries, build new trails, and overhaul existing ones, add safety elements, and restart preservation efforts. Improve the disc golf course, enhance park maintenance, and add kiosks that detail the bluff's history and habitats. The recent Memorial Park Overlook project is another keystone improvement project to the park's renewal, and it was necessary to increase accessibility and improve safety. Once again, the efforts were driven by public-private partnership that stems from community members' desire to create a better place. Over the course of 3 years, nearly half of the funds have been privately raised, and residents have had a chance to weigh in and make the design better. Today, we dedicate the Memorial Park Overlook to those that served and will serve in years to come to have the freedoms that we all enjoy each day.
Thank you. So now comes the time to uncover the dedication plaque. This dedication plaque took a long time to receive, and I'm not going to go into the story of the plaque with you, but I'm going to read this plaque, and I think it's a really nice addition to this overlook, and also will stay here for years and years and years and years to kind of, should I say, be a part of history that for people when we're no longer around to understand the overlook. And if somebody would come forward maybe and help me with this, I'd like to take this plastic away before I It's not placed in here permanently yet because of a technical difficulty, but it's here and certainly capable of being introduced to the public. And I guarantee it's not going to fly away anymore. Memorial Park Overlook. 93 acres of Sorns Bluff were originally purchased in 1927 for development into a park by the Goodyear County Soldiers Memorial Association. Memorial Park was dedicated on September 15, 1929, to commemorate the valor and sacrifices of those who ventured all for the sake of their country, and to provide greater opportunities for the public to experience outdoor recreation. Also proclaimed that day, it is proper and fitting that such a monument should not be one which will perish under the ravages of time. Bronze or stone may crumble, but this everlasting hill will stand here for all ages to come. This redesigned Memorial Park Overlook is positioned 372 feet above the Mississippi River. It provides an accessible view of panoramic beauty which defines the region. It is also the result of a joint public-private partnership between the City of Red Wing and the Red Wing Noontime Kiwanis Club. The park improvement represents a club achievement, recognizing its 100th anniversary of community service. In addition to the taxpayers of Red Wing and the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, the following Kiwanis partners represent the private sector philanthropy which made this overlook possible. Albrecht Poss Family Foundation, the Barron's Family Foundation, Suzanne Blue, Johnny L. and Mary Beth D. Gethinger, the Jones Family Foundation, the Robert Keller Family, the Ploss Family, Red Wing Noontime Kiwanis Foundation, Bob and Terry Ryan, David and Linda Sundberg, Bill and Carol Sweezy, George and Barbara Vogel. The Memorial Park Overlook is dedicated to all members of the armed services who have historically served or who are currently serving to protect the citizens of the United States of America It's dated 2024, and we have 6 stars placed at the bottom. Each of those stars represent a current branch of the United States military. It's going to include the newest one, which is the Space Force. Our wonderful brass band is going to end our event today with a very invigorating march called National Impact.